I'm back. So Claire showed up, so I had to answer the door for her, but I'm going to continue telling the story. She's promised to be quiet, and if I get stumped, I'll ask her for help. So where was I? Okay. So Kiera had counted the bricks, 1, 2, all the way up to 6, and she had stuck her hand underneath that small, indiscernible lip you can't find, and she pulled the brick out. She set it down. She looks out through the hole, and she, when you're in the library looking out this hole, this is the only way you can look out the library. Nobody can see you if they're on the ground, but the downside of that is you're not able to see them because of the brick. It's how eyesight works. You can't look around solid objects. But if they're far away, they can't see you. So, Kiera is able to see everything, and she looks out and she sees fighting, and the people of her village are fighting with these strangely armored men, and she's never seen armor or metal like it. It's got this strange purple-blue color to it, and it seems to glow with every strike, every force that comes in contact with it. And the people wearing the armor seem to get stronger and stronger as the fight goes on, and she's watching this strange battle below her, and she's looking for her family. And she looks down and she can't find them. She can't see anybody. All she sees is just people fighting. She sees people of her own village get struck down. She doesn't see a single one of these strange soldiers get hit or struck back, or they don't even get knocked to the ground. They're just plowing through her village, killing person after person, and she's watching this with a complete, feeling of shock. It's not terrifying her, it's not making her sad, she doesn't like it, she's just watching this. She's just too petrified to know how to react. And she's watching this, and the ground is becoming soaked red, and she's watching this with the most serene look on her face. And after about 5 minutes of this, she kind of blinks back to the present. She grabs the brick and she shoves it in the wall, and she has pushed the brick into the wall so hard that the brick goes flying out the other side. And she hears people outside shouting, where did that come from, what was that? And she panics, and she runs back to the lower floor of the library where she reads, and she crawls underneath the chair and she hides. And she hears people ramming on the door again, trying to get in. The library is not letting them in, and she's sitting there and she starts to cry. She doesn't know what to do. She's scared. She knows her family's out there somewhere, and she can't do anything about it. And she cries herself to sleep. Funny thing, isn't it? Strange, one of those strange things. She's in this dangerous situation, and she falls asleep. And when she wakes up, silence. There's no fighting. There's no screaming. There's no crying. She crawls out from under the chair. She takes a deep breath, and she walks to the library door. She opens it, and what she sees stabs her in the heart like an arrow. And then it stabs her in the heart and then it pummels her to a pulp inside, and all she can do is stand there. Over on the street corner, there's the tailor who was like a grandmother to her. Over there, that pile of people over there, those were the blacksmiths who were just in their village because they were fleeing from the armies who had destroyed their village. They were only there for a couple days. Over there was the sorry, I said the blacksmith already. Over on the other side of the street, just across from her, was the baker who would give her family the scrap bread when they couldn't afford to buy their own. All these people are people she only knew for a short time, for a long time. It didn't matter who they were. She died inside a little bit that day because she loved every single one of those people. And she caught herself. She started to cry. And she caught herself. She stood straight up and she looked around. And she said to herself, I have to find them. And these people she was talking about was her family. Her family, the last time she saw them, were working out in the fields. Her family, they're farmers. Last time she saw her mother was cooking breakfast. Last time she saw her little sister was playing in the yard with just a dog that she just found. Last time she saw her brother, her father and her brother, they were working in the fields together. And she starts running. And the library is on one side of the village, and her family's farm is past the other side of the village and beyond. And they run, and she runs out. She runs out to their farm, and she looks around. The crops are burnt and burning. The house is ashes. And she runs inside. She can't find anything. She sees no bodies. She finds no survivors. She sees nothing. She has no idea what's going on. She runs out. They have a shelter that they built into the ground. She runs out. She climbs into the shelter. There's nobody there. The only thing she found that proved that they were there at some point was the doll her sister had made a year before, because her mother couldn't afford to buy her one. And Kiera knelt down. She grabbed the doll. She clutched it in her hands, and she climbed out of the shelter, and she sits on the ground right in front of it. She looks around and she thinks to herself, what do I do now? Where do I go? There's nobody left. What do I do? And she sits there for 2 days. She sat there for an entire 2 days. Sitting there, staring into nothing, thinking about nothing, barely breathing. She just sits there for 2 days. And she realized that there was nothing she could do for the people she couldn't find. So she decided, I'm gonna find these people who did this to my village. I'm gonna find people to help me, and we're going to make them pay. But she shrinks away from that idea, because she's timid and she's afraid of what she'll find, of what she'll have to do. She thinks to herself, where do I start?